Hey Everest, Grace here. So sorry this is a day later than it was supposed to be. I was recording it outside with a friend of mine and I thought it turned out okay, but it was really windy that day, and so it turns out that the entire footage is just completely like, you just can't tell what I'm saying at all. It's just and then I'm kind of mouthing in the background, and instead of putting words over it so you can understand what I'm saying, I'm just going to re-record. So today's video is going to be the top 10 ways to help the global poor. Now there's a lot of ways to help your local poor. Go and help out at a soup kitchen, donate clothing and items that you're not using, go help work at a battered women's shelter. There's all these opportunities to work within your community and serve them that way. A lot of people though, and it's really popular, is to help the global community. And so there's so many different opportunities for you to do it, but you never really know, where your money is going. So, it's always good to ask yourself, is what I'm doing actually helping? So I have in my handy dandy notebook, kind of a summary of an article I actually read. This article is from christiantoday.com, which I don't have a subscription to, seeing as I'm not Christian. But I found the article elsewhere, and the reason I looked it up was because we were talking about this in my microeconomics class, and I thought that it was something that I'd like to share with you guys. So what the author Bruce Wydick did is he went and spoke with 16 economists about, what they thought was the best way to help the global poverty level, I guess. And they scored each item on a level from 1 to 10. And what was interesting that I thought was that there were no outliers. There were no distinct outliers, that is, which is kind of rare when you're surveying a group of people. Often there's, one person ranks something higher than the other people do, and this wasn't something that occurred. So I guess let's jump into it. So number 1 is going to be providing clean water to communities. They ranked this an 8.3 out of 10, which I think is just incredible. Clean water is so important because water, if it's sitting stagnant or if it's being polluted with anything like human waste or anything like that, your likelihood of getting really ill from it is so much higher. If you're getting sick from it, you're obviously not going to be retaining any of the, fluids that you're needing and all of that. So clean water is just so key. There's 2 organizations that the article lists, lifewater.org and the Water Project. There are a few others that they list, but those are the 2 that I actually recognized. Providing clean water is relatively inexpensive, which is really great. And this is something that they don't have access to otherwise. So you're not providing them something that they can go and get themselves. You're providing them something that they absolutely need and cannot get. Number 2 is going to be deworming treatment for children. So this is ranked at a 7.8. But what's great about deworming is it's also really inexpensive. So if you don't have a lot of money but you're wanting to help the global community, deworming is a great option. Children who get worms from anything they eat or just generally walking barefooted or anything like that, they often have to miss school, they get very ill, and it really just doesn't help their situation at all. Dewormtheworld.org is going to be the company or the organization that's helping with that. Number 3 is to provide mosquito nets. So this is ranked at a 7.3, so we're still above 5. And this is so important because malaria. Malaria is so prevalent in these communities that I'm talking about us helping. And 1 out of 5 children in these communities that dies under 5 will die from malaria. That's really sad considering that mosquito nets are so cheap. It's between $5 and $10. So if you have an extra $5 laying around, send it to an organization like nothingbutnets.net. That's a confusing organization name. That's so important. The next one is going to be to sponsor a child. So this is number 4, and it's ranked at a 6.9. The reason this is lower is because some organizations who sponsor a child are actually having you pay money, and they're giving the money to the community, not that specific child who you're being told you are helping. well, helping the community is still good, you're under the perception that you're helping a specific child. Just a tip is to just make sure that the company you're going through is actually giving the money to that child. Building schools and all of that is very important, but there are other organizations that solely do that. So if you're helping under the mindset that you're helping this one child go to school or whatever, but you're actually helping build the school that they're not going to, it kind of defeats the purpose that you're setting out to do. So Compassion.com and ChildFund.org are two organizations that do take care of that. Number 5, which is one that I had actually never really thought about, was to provide wood-burning stoves. So that's ranked at a 6.0. The reason wood-burning stoves are being provided is because they burn less wood rather than, burning an entire wood pile inside of your house, and then, you're breathing in all of that poison air. The vents, or I guess it's like a smokestack type thing, goes out of the home, house, apartment, whatever, and they're still receiving the warmth without getting the dirty air in their lungs. Also, in a lot of these village communities and stuff like that, they're burning biomass, which is going to be things like dung, wood, waste. And all of that is so toxic once it's burned. I mean, it's toxic in general, but it's really toxic when it's burned and you breathe it in. So these are a little bit more expensive. They're really efficient, but expensive. And they efficiently burn wood, so you're using less wood, which is helping with deforestation as well. So an organization that does this is going to be worldstove.com. And all of the links to these places are going to be in the down bar below and all of that. So number 6 is where we drop below 5.0. And number 6 is going to be to give a microfinance loan, and that's at a 4.2. I think if you're going to give somebody a small loan, I would recommend keeping it local. I'm not saying anything about, against giving microfinance loans, but the organizations you're going through, there's a concern with creating unnecessary debt that perhaps these entrepreneurs won't be able to pay back or what have you. It does help people start and run their businesses, and when you give a loan, it won't be, the person you give the loan won't be given another loan until they pay back your loan. And I think that's good. It really gives them an incentive to pay back the loan, but like I said, that's still a necessary debt that they may not have incurred otherwise. So that's something to keep in mind. Kiva.org and Vision Fund are two companies that provide microfinance loans or help you provide microfinance loans. Number 7 is going to be funding reparative surgery. So this is going to be cleft palate surgeries, physical deformities, etc. This is ranked at a 3.9, mostly because it's not necessarily something that they need to survive, but it does affect their social abilities. Some people with cleft palates aren't able to speak properly, aren't really able to feed themselves properly, so there is a little bit of an issue with them getting nourishment. But for the most part, they're missing school, they're not becoming educated, and they're not socializing properly, which can affect them in the long run. So SmileTrain.org and Mercy Ships .org are two organizations that help with those surgeries. Number 8 is going to be to donate a farm animal. And this is ranked at a 3.8, mostly because it's kind of expensive, and there is the concern that the person receiving that animal either already has enough, or there's a chance that perhaps they won't be able to provide for that animal properly. But you are helping them get milk and meat, and that's so important because it provides nourishment. SamaritansPurse.org is going to be a website where you can go and look and see different families needing different types of animals. Number 9 is going to be drinking fair trade coffee. This is ranked at a 1.9, and for a very good reason. The only law about fair trade coffee really making it fair trade is that the workers are being paid minimum wage, which is already a law. So if you think about it, they're not really getting much benefit. And the farmers who are becoming fair trade growers have to pay to have that certification. So drinking fair trade coffee isn't really doing much to help the farmer. In fact, it's costing them more money just to be labeled as fair trade. I read an article and watched a video about this in my microeconomics class, and something that the woman in the video mentioned was drinking premium coffee is actually probably going to be more helpful. It costs about the same, so you're not really giving up more money, but the people growing and taking out all of the coffee are often paid more because it requires more work, more care. They're, more skilled laborers, and so they're going to get paid more. So if you think about it that way, premium coffee will actually benefit them more, and the farmer doesn't have to pay for a certification to be fair trade. If you are interested in doing fair trade coffee, Green Mountain Coffee is a brand that is technically fair trade. Number 10, which is the last one, and one that I've never really quite understood, is giving a kid a laptop, which is ranked at 1.8. I understand that it bridges the digital divide, but it's not meeting their basic needs of food, water, and shelter, and it's a luxury. It's a luxury that a lot of people in Western culture find to be a need or think is a need, but they're still able to become educated without laptops. And so I think as far as cost goes, it's not necessarily worth it. The article says that one laptop could give 20 people clean water or 400 deworming treatments for children for a year. So that's just really something to think about. If you have the money to provide a laptop for a child, one.laptop.org is the company that you could go through. But if you really have that money, I recommend just going ahead and donating more clean water or more deworming treatments, get more bang for your buck. That said, I really hope this has opened up some options for you as far as helping the global poverty community. But again, remember that there are people in your own community who need help. If you live in a colder climate, donate your older winter coats. If you're in a warmer climate, go around and hand out water bottles during the summer. These are all really just important things, little things, and inexpensive things that you can help your own community. I hope you enjoyed my video. Sorry it's late. And I will see you guys on Friday. Remember to follow Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!